My name is Moyer. You're in the Win Again Clubroom, and it's brought to you by Win Again and a whole bunch of other fantastic brands. And we have some great people in the house. We're gonna talk about GelStx in a few minutes. That is Josh Miller's brand, but we also have the founder and CEO and big kahuna of Electrolyte Boost. Gary Kleinman is here. Very excited to have him. We have James is here. He's like the franchise expert to the stars. I just felt like saying that. So many other great people here. Super excited to have you. Once again, remind you what our mission is here. Obviously, we seek to elevate each other. And what I mean by that is all of us should be talking to our table mates about how can we either help them grow their business, help them with their careers, whatever help the other people need. Please, by all means, share your knowledge, share your expertise, and share your network. That's how all of us advance. So please consider doing that when we go back to the tables a little bit later. Josh Miller. Oh my God, this is an interesting guy. Josh was born in Queens, New York. Yeah. Grew up in East Brunswick, New Jersey, and went to high school there where he set 74,212 records. It's really incredible what he's done. Then went to college, but you'll love this. He first went to Scottsdale Community College out in Arizona, where the nickname was the Fighting Artichokes. God, that is amazing, the Fighting Artichokes. So he will always be known as a Fighting Artichoke. And when you look at him, you can see why. Then he attended and graduated from University of Arizona, went on to play in the Canadian Football League, but mixed in there somewhere was auditions or stuff with General Hospital. So he's like a movie star too. Amazing. On top of that, then he was called by the NFL to come play. Played with the Steelers for several years, played with the Patriots, and also played with Titans briefly. But since that time, though, most importantly, he's become an entrepreneur, has had so many experiences within that space. Currently the founder and CEO of GelStx. We're going to talk a lot about that. So enough of that super long rambled introduction, although I know Josh is saying, keep talking. But I'd like to bring him in and we can continue our chat. Josh, I really appreciate you being here. He hails from the warm part of Florida, which is not the place I was a couple weeks ago. So here he is.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it doesn't, you have everything you mentioned was in pencil, right? No one, when I talk to schools right now, you go back and I say, raise your hand if you know what you're going to do the next 10 years. Everybody raises it. I'm like, all right, now go home, take that, throw it away, and write that in pencil, because you have to be ready to move and pivot and drift, and opportunities. You put yourself in the right place can take you down other paths. Kids today just want to know. They're so regimented. They're so this way, as opposed to just meeting, greeting, and letting their people skills and curiosity kind of guide them sometimes. But yeah, so it's amazing. I feel like you just read off 8 million things I failed at, but you have to fail in order to get to where you're going. It's I'm not a cubicle guy, and some people are, and God bless them, and that's wonderful. But I've failed more than I've made it. And luckily, I'm still standing to keep trying and attempt again. I think that's what it's all about in growth in life.
Time out. You succeeded in being born. You actually graduated from high school, I believe, correct?
Yeah, no, all that's true.
Okay, so there you go. You got a lot of victories under your belt. Don't worry about that. But look, what I do want to talk about, though, Josh, is that my big passion, as you know, is helping athletes as they transition from their sport to what they do next. And one of the things I often see are athletes who they're so very focused on the sport that they're playing that they lose sight of the fact that there will be a day that they have to retire. Was there a point in time while you were playing that you ever thought, shoot, I better get my act together and start preparing for life after football? Or did you it was football all the way through?
I think it's terrifying when an athlete gets to college and realizes time's running out, because then he realized there's no next league. Everyone knows the odds and the percentages of playing at the next level, but there's a reality hit. And then the more I went on and the way life has kind of shifted and morphed the way it is today, now I'm going back and telling these kids, do you understand how close you are to management? Forget about just find a job. Their qualities, their skills, what made them great athletes would make them great management. A company will, listen, I'll teach him what he needs to know. But here's a bunch of kids. I don't care if you're third string at Neshiva. I don't care where you play or go to school or what you do. You go to work every day, Monday through Friday, with people you may or may not like. You can be led, you can be leaders. If something doesn't happen right, you know how to pivot. You're not going to complain and cry. You're going to get the playbook again and go in this direction. And I explained to them that's management. The definition of good management is being able to do all those things. So I wish I had that, because I was terrified leaving the University of Arizona. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was an awful bet. I was not a good punter. It's funny. I look back on my career, and everything that happened seemed to be a mistake. But I know you make your own mistakes, and you cause your journey. So I tell these kids today, relax, breathe, enjoy every moment, and realize that your skill set is something that the world actually needs today in droves. So I encourage that, because they are leaders, whether they know it or not.
But okay, but in your case, as you played your 12th, 13th, 14th, whatever, all your years of football, you're out there punting and so forth. Tell me a little bit about how you yourself started to prepare for what was happening afterwards.
Every offseason, well, as we all know, I was a punter, right? So I can show you, I have my playbook right here. It was one piece of paper. It was kick it. So I had a lot of time on my hands, right? I was the lawyer in the locker room. They kept me on for 2 more years because I kept everything at bay. All the fighting, settled everything. Nothing got to the media. I was that guy. But every offseason, I say, be better, learn something, do something. So I got into real estate. Okay, I want to buy a house, gut it, clean it. Bring a builder in there, but I'm not going to let him do it. I want to watch him do it. I want to see what he does on the inside. And then I would rent it out to a free agent who came in. So I had that. Then the next year, I would learn how to play the guitar. I would learn about, real estate, how to sell it, taxes, all these things. I mean, listen, I'm not going to tell you I was splitting atoms at all by my third, fourth year. I didn't know anything. But by the time I got done, you spend enough time seeing what other people are doing. You surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, so you rub off. You hear it all the time. You're a product of who you surround yourself with, and I think that's an important part. And just inner growth. I think the people that make it are the ones that understand their strengths and weaknesses and work on their weaknesses. And if you get yourself to the point where you can acknowledge that you're not perfect or you're not great, and there's other things. You're a professional athlete here, but you don't know anything about taxes. I had guys walk into the locker room. I had to explain this to a lot of guys. You get to your locker and there's a piece of paper that says 401k. That's not a race. You want to be. Guys would take the 401k paper and throw it away. Say, I am not running in that. I'm dead tired. You want to run in this one? Let me explain to you why you want to run in this one, and you'll be happy when you're 60. So, I mean, it's just being able to understand, yes, I'm a gifted athlete, not me, but the guys in the locker, the other guys. I'm a Jewish kid from Jersey that ran out of cool things to do, and then I realized all I could do now is kick, so I did it. So my thing was learn every year, get better as a person, surround yourself with people that know whatever you want to get into, find the best people in that and become friends with them, and it'll rub off on you.
So with that said, because another thing that I hear a lot of times is a regret from some athletes when they say that they wish they had actually met and made more connections while they were playing. They were so focused on sort of being adored by the fans that they never made the effort to meet people in business, other, whether it's business leaders or owners or whatnot. And then once they're not famous anymore, they tend to lose the ability to get those meetings, right? So when you were playing and you're learning guitar, you're learning this, you're doing that stuff, but when you'd play in away games, was there any opportunity to meet with other people, or did you kind of just stay in the hotel kind of a thing? What would you do? I
had a rule, even in college, because you're dealing with alumni and boosters and things of that nature. I always knew back then I'm a people person. I mentioned earlier, and I'm not proud of it, but I'm not splitting atoms. I think pretty decent. So I knew as a kid, when I was in college, if I met somebody, a businessman, he gives me his card. We had a conversation. I would go home, write something on the back of it, and I would call him 3 days later. I'm driving somewhere. I have a half hour. I'm going to call. Hey, Mike, how you doing? We met last week at that banquet. Pleasure meeting. How's your wife feeling? You mentioned that you came alone because she was sick. When you say things like that, that separates you. When you're now that I'm hiring, I look for those type of traits, and I tell my kids all the time. When I was a kid, everybody hustled. I mean, everybody hustled. Nowadays, all you have to do is just be good at the stuff that's free. Be prepared, be polite, shake a hand and like it's like not a fish, not a little deer hoof that people like to shake. I mean, if you just hustle and go out of your way to show that you care, it's not an act. That should be who you are as a person. But get into those habits. When you talk to someone, remember what you talked about, write it down. So when you talk again, those are little testers. You're always auditioning. And that, I think, is very important for kids to understand, especially in today's day. Social media, all that stuff. You do an inside joke, and you're at the house and you're doing all these things. Not a good idea. That's a different time. When you're on social media, you have to understand your future boss is going to be looking at you. Your future coaches are looking at you. If you're a high school kid and you're getting recruited and they're recruiting another kid, and I'm the coach and I'm looking on these social medias between Mike and Stevie, and Steve has a monkey taped to the ceiling and they're throwing things at him, or this one here who is at his little brother's baseball game at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. I'm like, and they're posting that. I'm going to go with that kid because he didn't pass out that night. He woke up at 7. He cares about something other than himself. But that's just being prepared and showing that you care about things other than yourself.
So I have a question. Monkey on a ceiling?
Well, yeah, I've seen it all. When you play, man, you see a bunch of things that you just wish you did.
Okay. So, at what point did you sort of realize, wait a second, instead of getting into real estate and doing flippings or whatever, was there a point when you said, you know what, I want to start my own thing, my own company? Was there sort of a moment, a watershed moment that sort of got that going, or was it more of a kind of just happened? Like, what? Tell me a little bit about that.
I tried a bunch of different things. Like when I was done playing football, I was, there were six punters drafted, and I was not one of them. Yeah. So I was really confused by that, right? Here you are, you're a first team All-American, you think you're going to be drafted, and you see 6 other guys go before you, and all your buddies are calling you. Every time they call, you think it's a team calling, so you get mad and you just leave the house stomping out. But it's for me, the watershed moment was you better figure out something else to do in life. And what are you good at? What do you love? My dad always said, listen, if you do something you love for a living, you're winning. Who cares what you're making? You're healthier. Food tastes better. Your patience. You're going to be more open to do things. If you dive into something that is going to stink, it's going to carve out just a gnarly person. So my dad always said, do something you love. And what did I love? I love being on the radio. Love talking on the radio. So I love the media side of things. I love helping kids be the best version of themselves, especially in today's atmosphere where the parents don't let the kids play 3 sports anymore. At 9, I mean, are you kidding me? Let the kid be a kid. Let him figure out who the hell he is and let him explore. But so I work with athletes now on the mental side, and half the stuff I end up getting in the way of just getting in the way of the friction between the parents. I think as a parent, your best gift that you could ever receive is the trust of your kids. So now you're trying to coach them. You're MFing them at the tournament, and then that's a 40-minute ride home, which is awful. And then you get home, and now the wife's yelling at the husband for getting it. It's just too much friction. So if I can get in the middle of all that muck and keep that trust between parent and child, I love that. And let that kid not have any stress on who's watching and the parent and what are they going to think. No, forget that. So for me, that's what I love doing. And I can't really do anything other than that, I don't think.
Oh, of course you can. So let's talk about what you can do, what you are doing. Tell me a little bit about what started, not just GelStx, but really what got you going and creating something from an idea to something that actually became something.
I mean, it started. It's so funny. So when I was tinkering, so I'm trying to play golf with my son. Not mold him into like Tiger, but just say, listen, this is a game that I'll be able to play until until you bury me. I didn't tell him that, but that's my mindset.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong game that we're always going to be playing. I want him to learn how to play, but teaching him how to putt is the hardest thing to do, to teach a child. It's like literally teaching a dog how to make an omelet. It's just impossible. The hole's 4 feet away. How do you swing like that? So I had to invent things and tinker on things. So I made a small tire, and I used to chew tobacco when I was younger. And so it looks something like this, the wheel that I'd attach to the putter. I said, when this goes around 3 times, release and let it go. So I taught him to gauge distances, and I realized, and he learned that way. So like, what else can I get into to help kids get better at something? And that's how GelStx came. We have a partner in Pittsburgh, Tom Langston, who, we got together. He has the gel polymer. John Lounsbury and Tim Williams are my team, which, by the way, I don't have to tell you, you're as good as your team. You could have the greatest idea, but if you don't have the right people to execute, or if you have people that, you have 3 people that are doing the same thing, it's useless. So I have a wonderful team. And GelStx is one of those products where I want kids to practice how they play. And we were fortunate enough to come out with this product. It's, hockey players, golf, and lacrosse right now. And, we have 35% of the NHL, 60 colleges, U.S. national team men and women using the hockey side. You have guys that make $80 million a year saying they need this. That's a wonderful, but yet bizarre, but also another example of how fragile the mind is when you think you need that to be good, but that's just it. Athletes like to feel like they're getting the edge. They like to feel something instantly, as opposed to 6 months, you'll see a difference. How about now? Can I see a difference now? So that's the product.
That's great. So with GelStx, I mean, you started it, what, 4 years ago or so, or how long ago?
Yeah.
Got it. And what was one of your biggest surprises? Like, what did you not expect? Putting aside the people side of things, but the business side, what was one of your biggest surprises?
Not everybody wants you to make it. Is one, you try to win your backyard, but people in your backyard don't want you to make it. It's realizing, I love people. Oh, the easiest thing to do is money. You'll always find money. Money is the easiest thing to find. Just come up. Yeah, and money's out there. Is it? It's not out there as much as you think it's out there. I find it hilarious when people say, I want to see a business plan. I respect the business plan. I get that. But all the business plan is the next 4 years of throwing darts at the board and guessing what could possibly happen, as opposed to tangible product. Here's involved. This is the person doing it. And we've already sold $1 million worth. Well, where's your business plan? I guess I can make it up with crayon if you have to check that box. Just those type of conversations, dealing with institutional money, dealing with friends and family money. When you have friends and family putting money in, you have a different feeling about things, and then when you get to a certain level, then it becomes, the next level's not for everybody. You start out with a lemonade stand, it takes off, and it's like, well, geez, if we're really going to get serious, we need real money. Well, I'm not going to invest if there aren't any C-level eyes on this thing. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, I need to bring someone in here that understands what the projections are and all these type of things. So yeah. It's being educated on the steps that are required. You need that person at the table on your side of the table that's a jerk. That knows how to say no and keep people accountable. It's very easy. That's why you see so many chefs fail at running a restaurant. Well, but my food's great. Yeah, I understand, but you don't know how to manage a restaurant. That's the other half. So it's finding out all those little things and vetting your partners better and things of that nature, where you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know who you're in bed with until things happen, and then now it's like, okay, how do you fix it? How do you go? Investors don't care about the scenario. They want to know what's going on today at the moment for this. So all those type of little pitfalls and valleys that you go up and down, I had no idea about, but I find it exhilarating. I mean, I probably had the worst year of my life last year on things of business-wise, of just everything that went wrong did. And it was awesome because I just rolled up my sleeves and I found out who my guys were. John Lounsbury, Tim Williams, Rob Schreier. I mean, these guys are like just thick and thin. You find out who you are, and now you get to the other side of it, and they're the ones there with you. And that's so. Some things are blessings. I love adversity. Adversity is the greatest thing that you can possibly have, as long as it doesn't kill you.
Bingo. So listen, before we go much further, there's a Q&A section here.
Commercials on this.
Oh yeah, hang on 1 second. Let me hit the button for. Um, oh yeah, hang on. Electrolyte boost available soon. Okay. So with that said, if any of you out there watching, listening, and so forth want to ask Josh or myself a question, please put it in the Q&A section to the right. On that right side there, you'll see Q&A. Please throw any questions in there. So tell us a little bit more right now, if you could. Describe GelStx itself and what makes it a training aid, and explain the sort of the process of the gel and the weight it becomes and all that sort of thing.
Sounds good. So we all, I don't know, we range on this show right now in all different ages. But back when I was alive, making Jello, you put liquid into the refrigerator and then you open it up an hour and a half later and bang. I don't know how that happens. I still don't know how that happens, but it happens. It turns into Jello. So the gel polymer, as you can imagine, when it goes into a sports tube, whether it be hockey, golf, lacrosse, it's that Jello feel, but it adheres to the walls, so it keeps the bend and the flex and the integrity of the hockey stick, of the golf shaft, of the lacrosse pipe. So now these kids, these hockey players that were tying pucks to the bottom, or weights, or rolls of quarters, or barbed wire, whatever the case it is, just to work on something heavier. Now it's apples to apples, and that's all I ever wanted. I want to be able to practice how I play. So when you think about a donut on the baseball bat, the mindset of that, okay, I'm in the batter's box, I'm swinging, I'm up now, I take it off, oh, it feels lighter. So now that's the thought process. So I have a lacrosse pipe right here. So you put the head that you want on it, and people are very picky. We were going to come out with one, but they take it off, throw it away, and put the one that they have on. So this weighs 2.5 times a normal lacrosse pipe, but you can put the head on it and you work it and you do everything you have to do. But when you put it down and go back to yours, holy cow, I'm a lot faster, quicker, stronger. And it's a men and women's, boys and girls product. It's not just, oh, let's focus on the guys. Girls play too, and they're 50% of the market. So, and their hockey game is absolutely beautiful. If you watch the hockey game, watch a top college tier hockey play, women's team play, your jaw will drop. The next is on the golf side. We've all seen the orange whip, and we've seen the speed stick. If those two training aids went out and got hammered and had a child, it would be us. Because really, this is one of those things where you can hit it. It comes with a tailor-made Titleist type mix head. The gel is in the shaft. It's a little heavier, 2.5 times, but you can hit balls with it, and you'll hit about 90% of what you normally do. And the great thing about this club, it teaches balance and tempo, which means contact. So and I always say, well, I want to be faster. You'll hit it further into the woods if your contact's not good. So if you have balance and tempo, your contact's going to be greater. When you have a heavier shaft, people slice. You slice when you cast. This prevents you. So it doesn't let you cast. It's almost like bowling with bumpers, if you will. And so you keep it in line, you keep it in here. When you get through, you're not going to be able to stop that. So now what are you doing? You're finishing your swing, which most people don't do anymore. And so it allows you now to have good muscle memory. You have your balance, your tempo, which is great contact. And then you go back to the driver. It's a lot faster now. It's going to feel a lot quicker, but your muscle memory and balance and tempo allows you to hit a better ball. And, I always say it's like the 80% rule. If you walked up to me, Mark, probably you, and if you hit me 80% on the nose, I'm out. But if you took a running start and swung 110 miles per hour, you're going to hit me on the cheek, the ear, and then I'm going to pound you. But my point being, 80% is all you need with 100% contact, and kids have to digest that thought process. It's the same thing with pitching, kicking, lacrosse, and tennis, same thing. Good contact is better than hoping it is with better speed.
So quick question then. Should they be concerned that the added weight could cause any sort of injury?
No, great question. We make it just 2.5 times because of that reason. If you can't practice how you play, if you're doing something different to make it work, then that's a problem. You're using those smaller muscles. 2.5 times the normal weight of a lacrosse pipe is nothing. 2.5 times of a hockey stick, you feel it, but it's nothing bad. We were very selective on why we went with that weight and what we did because of those smaller tendons, elbows, rotator cuffs, and things of that nature. It's just muscle. It's very sport specific muscle wise. So it actually strengthens and gives you more range of motion.
So why on earth would you put gel in there and not sand or water or something?
The consistency. Sand kind of goes in different directions and turns into an hourglass. That's a bad joke for the show. Never mind. It's funny. I told my kids when I get cremated, I want them each to get a piece of me in the hourglass. So every time you play a board game, you just flip me, and they don't get some. But anyway, that just reminded me of that. So that would be that scenario. But my point being, the gel is not going anywhere. We've had great success with it. And again, it allows you to practice how you play, and you're gaining the edge. It's done a very good job. We rolled out hockey, had some great success. The U.S. national team, men and women. Mike Eruzione was our first guy that I took this to, because he's a hockey guy, right? How could you tell me he's not? And he's like, well, let me see, Josh, let's go across the street and see if it's real. So he bought it to BU. Coach Quinn at the time was the coach, and he bought it in 5 minutes for the entire team, men and women. So that's when we knew we had something special.
Well, that's incredible. So, are you able to get some in with him at the professional level, or do they not really use it as much in the NHL?
Yeah, no, the NHL, they do. We filed it as a training aid. So the CCM schools, the Bauer schools, people with Warrior, Temper, all those people that have their guys and pay them millions and millions of dollars, they don't do that for training aids. So we actually, we've down that road, and we're like, oh boy, we're scared about it, but it doesn't matter. We're Monday through Friday. We make them, when the lights are on and the games are on, they're using their equipment. So we're no different than the parachute. We're no different than ankle weights. We're just a training aid.
Got it. So going forward, what is it you're looking to do with GelStx? And we won't talk yet about the other two. I want to talk about them in a minute. But what is your plan with GelStx going forward next sort of few months?
Well, GelStx is an important stage right now, because we really want to roll out the golf the right way. And golf, you could be 8 years old or you could be 80. Hockey we rolled out as our demo sport because, well, geez, if you're 25 years old, congratulations, you're probably getting a paycheck, because no one in the beer league is going to get a GelStx to improve their shot. So we had to see what we had, kind of build that reputation. You get one chance to roll out in the golf side. On the golf side, we went same thing we did with hockey. We went to the head names on the golf side, and the feedback has been great. Bob Ford is actually a partner of ours, a friend of mine from Pittsburgh. He was the head pro at Oakmont and Seminole. He's behind the product. We have Brian Moggs. I have Michael Breed, Martin Chuck. We have a lot of good names, because that's how they teach. They teach tempo, they teach balance, and they teach contact. So they feel this is a wonderful club for everybody to do. The next level is very simple. It's to get a nice raise. In order to be successful today, it's no longer Johnny Hustle. It's having enough digital assets. It's having videos. It's getting on social media as influencers. So in essence, the next level allows you to become a marketing company. And you spend and try to get to that next level. That's the next level from a lemonade stand. The lemonade stand, you're grassrooting it, you're backdoors, you're doing all these things. That's in our backyard. But to get to that next level, then it becomes influencers. And the influencers that have a couple million followers, well, what's in it for me? Well, here's a code. Here you're using it on your Instagram, your TikToks, and all that. Everyone's sold. It comes right back to you. Put code Lucy38, who does what she's using it for the golf side. She'll send her group, go in there. They have a code. They get 10% off, and she'll get a $25 bill, which they don't make, so don't check. And
they do somewhere.
And that's how you become that next level. That's where we're headed.
So that all sounds great. Deanna has a great question here. I like it. She asked, did you find it difficult to get your product in front of the clubs and the universities? Like, what was that initial challenge of pushing it out?
The initial challenge is nothing works on an email or a text. That I will say, that first year was, we didn't send a rep. We didn't have a rep. We couldn't afford a rep. I'm the rep. So you go there with a handshake. You say, listen, we want to put this in your hands and give us your thoughts. We know it's good. So when you get someone that says, well, let's see what the kids think, we knew we had it locked, right? Because the kids are going to see it, put it down, and go back to theirs and go, oh my God, this is great. But the first one is the hardest, because then once you get that first one, well, BU's using it. Why aren't you using it, North Dakota? Oh my God, they're using that. We need this, and then it comes that way, and it benefits you greatly, because you can just say, look at everyone who's using it. Why aren't you guys using it? But that first one, it takes the door getting shut in your face a few times. That's like in anything. But it's believing in your product, and not just with your kids. or your wife or your cousins. You have to go to strangers and say thoughts. I have a crazy neighbor that I think he's an idiot, but tell me what you think of this. And he's like, no, he's an idiot. I believe you, but this is a great product. And then you start getting some real feedback. So when you know you have something good, and you're honest with yourself. I mean, I have 3 kids and 2 of them are beautiful, one's not, but I'm not saying you just got to be extremely, you get some people that are so close to that product, they can't see the negatives. They don't want to hear it. You have to have input. You have to have feedback. You have to have that, and you got to listen to them, and be open for change. If you're stubborn and you don't want to change, it's going to be a very short run for you. You have to grow. Our first GelStx product looks nothing like this. Our first GelStx experience with China, we asked for hockey sticks, we got broomsticks. So this is going to be an unbelievable experience.
Well, you know what? I mean, if you think about it, though, with a gel-infused broom, you can just become a really good broomer. In fact, in curling, can you imagine? There you go.
There's no doubt.
You gotta expand your mind a little bit. All right, so Eileen asks, she says, how did you deal with the rapid growth? I mean, obviously it's a good problem to have, but how did it go for you guys?
We got into a lot of internal arguing, right? Because when you're not funded right, you have to pick and choose what you want to fulfill. Half the room could be like, oh my God, it's a box store. We have to do the box store. And then you realize what it costs to do a box store. And you're like, oh boy, is it really worth being in there? Well, it validates it, so we have to do it. So we make the wrong decision of being in the box store just so we can say, we're in a box store. We must be legit. Well, they don't pay you for 120 days, and you got to, so all those headaches that come with being in the box store. Well, these don't sell. We're going to have, you got to buy them back from us. Well, we said we weren't going to do that, but you get bullied into that. So I think the hardest part was just being able to pick and choose the battles you want to fight. Don't get over your skis and try to say yes, yes, yes to everybody and say, oh, everyone loves it. You got to really kind of grow. If you're going to go organic, be organic. Win your backyard. Don't rush it and go across the West Coast and see if they like it, because then you just start digging and having bigger problems. If you're not funded for the journey, figure out what you're funded for and then knock that out of the ballpark. Because now you have a track record and winning something that is tangible. If you go and try to do everything, you're going somewhere, say, you go back to your investors and say, hey, I need more money. I screwed up. I did this. They don't want to hear that. They want to go back and say, hey, listen, we need more money, but look what we did just in these tiny little town and the 3 towns next to us. We killed it. Okay, I'll invest more because you got rid of all the inventory.
Yeah. Now, did you, when you're looking at these, the separate sticks and so forth, I mean, look, you started, which was the first one?
Hockey.
Golfer. I'm sorry? It
was hockey.
It was hockey, okay. And then was there a point when you said, wait a second, this is going well, let's try a new one? Or was it, this isn't going, like, what was the decision?
We knew out of the gate we had hockey, golf, lacrosse. Those were great GelStx products. Everyone's a home run. Well, what are we really ready for? Hockey was more, and I don't mean any disrespect to hockey players, is more of a niche sport in this country. So we had some pretty good contacts high up early with John Lounsbury and Micah Ruzioni. So we went to those guys knowing we can get right into the big names right away and get real feedback. Once we saw that was a hit, we treaded that one and wanted to see it through, because if you go into the golf world as the first one, first of all, that's a massive global market. Not that hockey isn't, but you could be 8 or 80, as I mentioned earlier, and you're going to need a lot more inventory, a lot more SKUs, a lot more different sizes and things of that nature. So we really had to be careful with what we could afford to do. And hockey was one of those where, okay, let's see this one through, headed out of the ballpark. It's a lot easier to go to the golfing world and say, look what we did in the hockey professional side. It validates us right away, instantly. And we knew that, golf's the unicorn. Again, that's the biggest sport out of the hockey, golf, lacrosse, and we had to do that correctly, and we weren't ready to do that correctly. We were ready to do hockey correctly or lacrosse correctly. But golf's the unicorn.
It is for sure. Now, do you expect that? I know that the patent, as you've told me, is for gel inside of sports tubes. Are there some other ones you're considering? Or you're not allowed to say?
We have baseball. We have, we have a few other different, inside the clothing. We could have gel for more weighted vests and things of that nature. There's some possibilities and thoughts. But my thought with the gel stick company is like, listen, that's just going to open up other doors. So once you're in all the sports, the colleges and the youth kids, and once they see your product and it's a training aid, as we all know, is for getting better. Wouldn't it make sense for a training company to have a Gel Sport Nutrition? Sure. It's easy to roll that out when you have a couple wins under your belt,
Right.
All the leagues at all levels of the professional, the college, and then the kids. So now you come out with a training aid. Okay, great. Now what? Now there's a nutrition line. Well, we heard of those guys. I use their products. It's training. It must be decent. Of course it is. So that allows us to open up other doors. That's all you want to do. One thing, we're not selling pencils where that's kind of handcuffs you a little bit where you can go with that. But you're selling opportunities by being able to see 4 or 5 steps ahead. Boy, if we hit a home run with this one, we can definitely go at it with this. So now that we hit a home run, we're still at bat with GelStx, we go to the nutrition line. Okay, so let's just say the nutrition line works. Wouldn't it make sense that GelSport would have swag and gear and understuff to wear for the working out? Of course it would, because that's what you do in the offseason. You work out, you train, you sweat. So there are other opportunities that come into that.
Now, speaking of other opportunities, you've got a couple of other entities that you've been speaking about. Let me know if you want to jump into those at all.
GelSport Media.
Talk to me about it.
Oh, I love GelSport Media because my thought process is, it's very simple. These kids, they spend their whole life getting good at something. And then when they go to a college, they can make one small mistake and suddenly, oh, they're bad. And everyone has their opinion. Everyone sitting on the couch has their opinion on what they are as a person because of one simple mistake. Now, a lot of mistakes are made by ignorance. And when I was a kid, thank God there wasn't social media around, or we wouldn't be having this conversation today. I would not be here. So it's very tough to be a kid. And now that these kids are getting opportunities to make money while they're in school, what are they going to do with it? And then the financial side. So with GelSport Media, because we're in 60 colleges, I'm going back now to the ADs and the athletic directors and coaches, and now we're coming out with programs where we're helping these kids. I'll go in there and talk about, listen, as much as I would tell you, because I was in the media, not one person that asks you a question after a game or practice can actually help you get to where you want to get to in life. I promise you. You try to be nice to everybody, don't do it. Be as vanilla as you possibly can when you talk to the media. How was the game today? It was good. We had a good time. We did well. We got to get better in some areas. Oh, the offense, you guys did great on defense, but the offense didn't score points. What do you think of that? Ask them. They're over there. They're on offense. Our job is, we gave up too many points today. You stay very specific. You could talk to a person for a half hour and praise the whole school, and then they say, wouldn't you like more balls thrown? Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't? And then bang, headline, so-and-so's not happy to not get enough touches. I didn't say that, coach. I didn't say that, teammates. Don't help the media. Be very vanilla. Now, we tell them social media, hey, man, that's different. You're now saying, hello, world, this is me. And that's up to you to figure out who that is going to be and what you want to do. Let them know they're always auditioning. I said that earlier. That's the most crucial, important thing. Align yourself with groups and people that you want to be affiliated with. That's the opportunity, and let them know they're always auditioning. You don't know who's watching them. We teach them how to post better things. You're at your mom's 87th birthday party. You're taking pictures of that. Post that. That shows me as a boss that this guy gives a crap about something other than himself or the monkeys that we talked about earlier that we're throwing things at. Let them see the good, normal side of you, that you care about something else. And then we go on and tell them about how close they are to actual management. I think it's very crucial for kids to understand you're not a dumb jock. You're actually this close from management. You know how to be led. You know how to be leaders. You know how to pivot. You go to work every day with people you don't like. You learn something, and then bang, you're lasered in. That's the type of person that companies are looking to hire. And then when we're all said and done, we want to be the ones at GelSport to start the company where we become headhunters for the athlete. And companies will come to us saying, what do you got? Where are they located? And we tell them. So it's a big one. And it started with what? Training aid. And how'd you get to the point now you're placing kids in the workforce? Well, it starts there and it leads there from trust. It's not something that happens overnight, but it's things that you can build, like the Olympic rings. They all kind of overlap and they all kind of have something to do with each other. And that's what we're trying to do as a brand.
I love it. I love it. Did you want to talk about the other product you have, or would you want to save that for another time?
Not there yet. I'm close. I'm
All right.
excited about that, but not close.
Okay.
I'm gaining on it.
Good. All right. Cool. So going forward,
Yeah.
aside from raising money and that sort of thing, who are some of the introductions that people can make to other people, like to get GelStx into other, whether is it teams, is it universities, is it leagues, is it fitness centers? What would be the best?
Organizations,
Okay.
clubs and instructors, people that train the athletes. We purposely stayed out of a lot of the box stores because, well, the margins are bad, and plus we like the instructor, the guy who's on the ice with 300 kids. If he likes this brand enough, he's going to back this brand and make all his kids do it because he's incorporating that in the workout. That allows him to teach the way he wants to. It teaches him to have an opportunity to make a couple more dollars, and it allows the kid to get better at his craft. My job is not to tell a kid, that statistics and percentages of people that make it. My job is to let them be the best version of themselves, which allows us to give them the best possible product to train with. And then again, back to the other side, we work with these kids on the mental side and the preparation. We teach these kids, listen, do you understand? Everyone tries to be perfect. No one's perfect. They don't understand. When you make it in life, you're going to realize, look at every good athlete. Look at every athlete that didn't make it. And I can tell you why. It's because their bad days weren't good. And that's when you've arrived. When your bad days allows you to compete still, that's when you're good. No one wants perfect. You think I was perfect at punting? I was a C-plus punter. I was awfully decent. They bring guys in that would just look like Tarzan. They were jacked, and they hit a ball into the clouds. I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy cow, I'm done. And then they hit their bad one. And I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I'm good. Because it was so bad, it hurts the team. That's the other half. The other half, I would always ask the kid that came in, I say, hey, listen, what's your backup plan if you don't make it casually? And they always had one. If you have a backup plan, you're not going to make it. There's no way.
You got a plan A and plan A.
You got a plan A, and that's it. I was always that one kid that flat out said, I have no idea. And I'm like, okay, this will be a dogfight. But every kid came in with a backup plan. If I don't make it, my dad owns this, or I've already been accepted to some. Good. Just leave now. That's the mentality that you have,
All right, I'm curious about it. I'm just going to throw a name at you real quick, just curious to hear your thoughts on him. Sean Landetta.
Oh, a good one. He brought me. He's taught me a lot. Sean Landetta is a great guy. Went to Towson State, then played with the Giants, the one bar, which got grandfathered into him. Just a superhuman being. Got me into kicking. I went to Scottsdale Community College, where I was a fighting artichoke, mind you, and the Giants came out that way. They had a game in Arizona and one in maybe with the Raiders, and they stayed at our college for 2 weeks, and we formed a friendship. I've kept in touch ever since. He brought me out to Jupiter, Florida. It was because of him that I'm here.
No kidding.
Superhuman being. Awfully nice.
I just pulled that one out of thin air. I didn't realize how connected you were. That's pretty wild.
Sean was good. He was at my wedding. I was, again, it's not a big deal, but I'm in the Jewish Hall of Fame. I mean, I went in with, but he went to that one as well, where I announced him as Sean Leonardowitz. So that was kind of funny. And he saw my kids enter Earth, down the road. So I'm not that day, but it was, he's a good one. Super nice guy.
That's great. All right, listen, I want to wrap things up and go back to the tables because I know that some folks want to chat with you. But I really appreciate you being here, Josh. I think that I think what's exciting is that I believe anyway, we're entering sort of a segment of your company and its growth where you will find some funding. You will find some folks that want to back you even more because the beauty of what you have is that you've got a patent on this technology or on this material, the gel and so forth, that nobody else can do what you're doing. They just can't. I mean, they can put, I suppose, marshmallows in there. Have you ever thought about marshmallows?
We had a late night. We tried that. What could possibly be a competitor of ours, and we just couldn't come up with it. Polymer, that's a very broad one to try to breach, so we feel pretty good about it. And the guy, with the patent works with NASA and Exxon, so he has his stuff pretty buttoned up with his patents. way more than my little lawyer, who's also a good friend of mine that I drink with. So that gives you an idea of the security on my side as opposed to his side. It's locked up pretty good.
So, all right. So marshmallows are out. That ruins my future. Okay. Anyways, well, look, I really appreciate you being here, Josh. Thanks so much. We're gonna go jump back to the tables, but thank you for sharing your time. We can absolutely be talking for months. You're very eloquent.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. And like I said, I felt like I've known you for years, right? I mean, this has been a great experience for me, and I appreciate your time, and I love what you're doing. I think there's such a need for it. I applaud you, and I will be, I'll find a table, when you're on again. I love it. I mean, you're never too old to learn, and connectivity is everything. You find your business soulmates. I believe they're out there.
Spot on, sir. Well, thanks again. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. We're going to bounce back to the things, and see you soon. Thanks.
Yeah.